January took 8 weeks, and the first 3 days of February have already felt like a month. So it seems we're in a very strange time warp situation. And I don't use the timeline jumping or timeline stuff very often because I don't understand it that well. But I was sitting here the other day thinking, we in a fucking timeline flip or something? Because, or are there like multiple timelines going on at the moment? Because it feels, everything feels discombobulated, or so there's so much shocking stuff happening. And I don't know, it just felt weird to me the other day. And I thought, fuck, are we only 3 days into February? It felt like, it felt like a month. It's a bit crazy. What a week, right, JJ? It's not just me, is it? You know, the first week of Trump's return was extraordinary. And the second week has been extraordinary for a different reason. It feels like we went on this high for a week, and then it's just like, certainly not like nothing's been going on, but like it felt like sort of like, I don't know, we crashed after the week. And for me personally anyway, it was an effort to keep looking. It was like, I need a break. I need to just um, I don't know, back off this. Plus, I had distractions because I had a girlfriend in town, so we were like doing some, fun things. So, but it still felt heavy. This week's felt quite heavy. Um, but anyway, it is what it is, and here we are. Um, Especially with these plane crashes and whatnot, planes and helicopters. And um, there was another one this morning on a runway at the Bush Airport in Houston. I think a plane caught fire. I was going to take off on to New York, and it's caught fire. So there's another one. There's like four plane crashes in like 4 days. What's going on with that? What do you
I don't
reckon?
know. It's not making flying seem very enticing at the moment, that's for sure.
Well, is that it? Are they doing that on purpose to make us think, oh, it's unsafe to fly, I'm not gonna jump on a plane? Or is it to introduce AI to become air traffic controllers and pilots? Is it what's going on with um, all of this airline stuff? What do you reckon, guys?
I've seen a lot of posts recently on social media or on Instagram in particular about this new technology they're wanting to create for airplanes. Have you seen it? It's like a detachable cabin, so that should a plane start going down and crash, the cabin will detach and these massive parachutes will deploy, and the plane, like we're carrying all the passengers, will float safely to the ground. And of course, they need all this money for said technology. So, is it part of that? I don't know. It, air traffic has been around for a very long time. I mean, when did the first planes come out? Was it the 20s?
Well, supposedly with the big blimps, or not
Right.
blimps, Zephyrs.
Air traffic, has been around for a very long time. Air travel has been mostly fairly safe. Yes, of course, we get the odd airline tragedy, but for the amount of flights that there are, really there are very few airline tragedies. At least there has been up until now. What's changed?
Is it to make Trump look bad? Who knows? Angela says flying is outdated.
Is it outsourcing? We've heard about them firing a lot of the engineers and the people that make all the money, the mechanics who were on very good wages, and they're outsourcing that to Asia and India and places where the crew are a lot less affordable. I mean, a lot more affordable. Their wages are a lot lower. Is it because of that? You don't have the real smart engineers and mechanics who are fixing the problems? I'm not sure. Is it a factor of all of these things combined?
Is it a result of, as Ted Cruz spoke out the other day, I'm not sure where he was, but he was talking about, oh, actually, it wasn't, it was just a clip that I saw this week of Ted Cruz in 2023 talking to this guy, don't know his name, sorry. But Biden had put him forward to be the head of the FAA in America, and Ted Cruz asked him, "Have you ever had any aero experience?" No. Have you ever worked as a pilot? No. Have you ever worked in an airport? No. Have you ever worked on an aeroplane? No. So this guy had no qualifications. Um, but he was part of the diversity, equity, inclusion policy, right? So is it to showcase the mentalness of this? I mean, this stuff coming out now about one of the pilots of the Black Hawk helicopter being a diverse employee.
I mean, does that matter if he's the best person for the job?
No, it doesn't. But he's not.
Is he the best person for the job?
That was the point. He had no experience. He barely even, like no experience in the aeronautical industry at all, ever.
Right, one of the pilots of the Black Hawk.
No. This is
okay.
This is the guy that Biden put up to
right.
become the head of the Federal Aviation Authority in America. So it'd be like putting me up to become the Federal Aviation Authority here in Australia. No, I've never had any experience at all, apart from sitting on a plane, being annoyed at times, being, I'll see if I can find that bit of paper, but I can never find my notes. You know me well enough by now, friend. But yeah, so that was just one clip that I saw this week. So,
Mike, I think he made a paper airplane in grade school.
Oh, right.
Another plane out of Houston had a fire on its wing before they took off yesterday.
Was that yesterday or today? I saw it this morning. It was like breaking news.
With all these fires and airplanes, and I don't know, it's all seeming a little bit suspicious, and you have to be willing to ask the question, why now? Don't know the answer to that.
JJ, thought I heard something to do with wood and metal, Chinese New Year or something, re the plane crash. I don't know about that. Hello, Patty Bronson.
Well, wood and metal, we would only be one or the other. It's year of the snake. Let's see what snake year it is.
It's the wood snake.
It is the wood snake. Yeah. Okay, so it's the year of the wood snake. So, yeah.
So Patty says, watch the FCB, the latest decode on the DC crash. And I mean, that plane that came down in Philadelphia, it sure didn't look like a plane coming out of the air for a start, but then the mark that it left on the ground and compared to other missile strikes around the world looked very similar to a missile strike. Who knows? I mean, we're going to have to wait and see, right? It's like we're just going to have to be patient and wait and see, because even Juan this morning on Nino was saying that, where is it? That, not everything is as it appears. And I mean, we've been hearing this for a long time, right? But yeah, these plane crashes are sketchy, right? And the fact that there's so many of them all at once, what the fuck's going on? But we have to wait for the facts. And Fauci and now Bill Gates have both been called. Putin wants Fauci and Bill Gates to head off to Russia to be dealt with. So there might be a plane that they're on at some stage that meets with something irregular. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it's not the only crazy thing going on this week. All the, RFK Jr. Being, having to defend his position to become the head of Health and Human Services in America, and the nonsense that he had to face this week with questioning from, can't think of her name, that crazy lady, talking about how, saying, can you make promises that you won't make money out of vaccines and make money off the pharmaceutical industries? And all the while knowing damn well that she's made millions and millions of dollars off the pharmaceutical industry. Everybody over the last 4 years who have had anything to do with the COVID jabs have made millions and millions of dollars off the, the pharmaceutical industry. So,
I mean, and they're still pushing the vaccine. I got a friend who wanted to do a course in aged care through TAFE here in Queensland. She got accepted to the course, and then before the course starts next week, she had to submit her paperwork that she'd had 3 COVID vaccines. So 3 COVID vaccines just to do the course, right? And it's like, really? They're still pushing this? Like all of this information coming out, and they're still pushing even to just study and go to school for aged care. You have to have had 3 vaccines. I mean, I'm just mind blown that they're still pushing this agenda even now.
Even as they withdraw COVID vaccines from the market because they've been proven and in court to show the side effects that we were all talking about 3 years ago. It's been proven without a doubt now. AstraZeneca's been pulled, Pfizer have been pulled. And yet here we have the largest vaccine manufacturing facility in the Southern Hemisphere down in Victoria that's just opened this week, this big Moderna factory that can pump out 10 million fucking jabs a year.
And then it's not just the jabs. I'm in the world with, neurodiversity, let's say. My son's, going to a program where everyone there is neurodiverse. And I have conversations with people all day, every day. And whilst I admit that having a child that's got challenges is difficult, is medicating these children the answer? Like, I have spoken to dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of parents who are believing the science and trusting the experts. I spoke to a woman on Sunday who had tried 5 different medications for her 5-year-old son, and each medication made him psychotic. He was 5 years old, and in one episode, he killed the family dog. And it's like, at what point do we stop experimenting with our children? And in my case, I've been made out to be a bad parent by, the pediatricians and the medical profession because I've chosen not to medicate my son. Yet you've got 5-year-olds killing the family dog after being medicated with a medication that didn't agree with them. So, I mean, that is an inverted reality. That is the definition of gaslighting. So you've got a whole, autism's on the rise, neurodiversity's on the rise. Like, who heard of neurodiverse in the 80s, right?
It's very naughty boys and girls.
These neurotypes, let's say, are on the rise. And with this rising neurotype is the rise in medication. And should you choose to deny said medication, you are seen as an extremist and a conspiracy theorist. And the fact is, little boys have a lot of testosterone. They're not really made for the school system, not before they're 7 years old. They need to be outside playing, jumping on rocks, stabbing things with sticks, whatever it is that they do. So this push to medicate every man, woman, and child on the planet, whether it be the COVID vaccine, anti-anxieties, antipsychotics, what else have we got? Anti, like the list just goes on and on.
All anti. And we know from words as spells and using intentions, the minute you put an anti onto something, you're only giving it more power, right? So that's why, I've always said I'm not anti-age, I'm pro-age, just pro-healthy age, right? If you're anti-vax, it's almost like you're giving the vax more power. It's a very strange, isn't it? Like,
yeah, look, and like I've spoken to particularly clients in my work, and they say my anxiety, and it's like, really, you own it? It's yours. I think when we call something my anxiety or my injury, it becomes part of our identity. Now, anxiety is an emotion. It's a physical chemical reaction that happens in the body. So what would be a truer statement is I am experiencing anxiety, not I am anxiety. So just being very mindful of the words that we use and the stories that we spell ourselves with. And even though I'm having this conversation with you, I'm not immune. I said to Jane yesterday, is it okay to say that I hate my life situation? And Jane was like, I don't know, Bella. Words are very powerful. So, and when we are in a difficult situation, when we are experiencing depression or anxiety or whatever it is that we're going through, yeah, it can be tricky to find the words to be authentic, but to not be dragged down by the experience and to not allow the experience to define who you are and become your identity.
Yeah. someone said here, sorry, I've lost the comment, that supposedly the Black Hawk helicopter was unmanned. Um, we don't know. And these are the things we're going to have to wait and find out for sure. And yes, it is, Eric, it is all part of the movie, right? And we're not seeing anything that they don't want us to see. The question is at the moment, who are they and who's fucking directing this movie, right? We want to know who the director is and we want to know who they are. These are the questions that we continue to ask every single
Christine,
week.
I used to say my fibromyalgia, my fibromyalgia, my chronic fatigue syndrome, these are powerful statements that cement the illness that you're experiencing. Now, with that being said, I've spoken to people who experience fibromyalgia, and by all reports, it's fucking awful. So it would be very challenging to not make that your identity. But it's where, you are not a slave to your mind. Your mind is a tool, and you can use your tool for your own advancement should you decide to do so. But it does require presence, and it does require work to observe the mind rather than let the mind run away with you.
They're jabbing fish with mRNA. Fucking hell. What the fuck? What kind of fish? And all of this jab stuff, all of this cancer stuff, all of this. It's like it's the old fucking problem, reaction, solution thing, right? 100 years ago, 150 years ago, there was no such thing as cancer, right? We have to create a problem to introduce a reaction, to have create a problem, fucking laden our foods and our water with toxic poisons, create fucking sickness within the body that the body reacts against and creates a cancer. It starts turning on itself. Make people so damn afraid of cancer by having cancer societies, boom, 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 in your face all the time with advertising and one solution. Go and get a vaccine. We have a brand new cancer mRNA vaccine that we can tailor especially for you.
What do you think's going to happen when all these people that get the cancer vaccine start getting cancer?
Just fucking add the numbers up. This is still, as far as I can see, I mean, I don't know. Is this just, I mean, they haven't done it yet, but is this just still to expose the industry? Is it still part of the flip that's going to happen to expose this industry?
There's so many things being exposed, the cancer industry, the someone is brain dead industry, right? Like what's the best patient to donate organs under 30 on a ventilator, told they're clinically brain dead, and the family, choose to give away the organs. You want to go down a rabbit hole, have a look into that one, my friend.
Anna Louise has just made a comment. There wasn't Alzheimer's either. There wasn't a lot of things, right? People died of whatever, malnutrition, old age, just, shit diets, shit living conditions.
Well, I think, sanitization actually did a lot. Learning how to wash your hands, cleaning up the sewers, getting rid of, our waste products in a clean, sanitary way. That did a lot to clean up humanity. So, if you look at places in Indo, like in Bali at the moment, where they've had all that flooding, and then the flooding causes the sewers to rise up, a lot of people are getting sick, and it's because of the sewage.
Yeah, cholera and all that sort of shit. Yeah. The year of schizophrenia, right? So you just reminded me, and always about with the Alzheimer's thing, right? So we've got RFK Jr., he's not anti-vax, he's pro-healthy vaccines. You know what I mean? Not this mRNA bullshit, untested, no standards, let alone gold standard testing on these things. He's said himself, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I'm pro-healthy. If we're going to vax people, we want to make sure it's good for them, right? So he's placed as the head of the HHS. Now there's this what's going on with Trump's second pick? So for RFK's deputy secretary for the HHS, a guy named Jim O'Neill. RFK Jr. is against vaccines. This guy's for vaccines, all right? Not only is he for vaccines, he tried to push a 100% aluminium injection for people who were suffering from Alzheimer's. Now,
why would he do that?
Why would he? Why would he do that? Why would anybody do that when vaccines that were aluminium has been shown to add to the burden, not saying it's the cause of, although some people have said it is, of Alzheimer's. Why would anybody do that? And why would Trump place this guy as RFK Jr.'s, the guy that would actually be managing Health and Human Services? Why, friends? Why? Aluminium's linked to autism. It's linked to Alzheimer's. There are so many questions. The year of schizophrenia is still it's happening, and it's crazy. All these plane crashes. It's like a form of gaslighting, you know. It's like to make us feel afraid. It's fucked up. The whole year so far has been fucked up.
I mean, you'd still be pretty unlucky to be on a plane that crashed. I mean, they're not going to, you think of all the planes around all the world that take off every day, right? You'd still be pretty unlucky to be on said plane.
Bridget Cooper, we can only hope, my friend, that all of this stuff is to expose them. And we've said this before, is Trump puts these people up front and center so that we can see who they are and let them talk about their policies and the evil of it. The year of schizophrenia continues in Gaza as well. There's a dog. Come here. Say hello. Oh, hello. All right. I know. All right, hang on a minute, friends. You be Come on. You go back out.
Zephyr's come to say hello.
I knew he was going to come in.
Oh, did you?
But that little thing's not going to be enough to keep Zephyr out. My favourite boy on the whole planet. What was I saying? What the hell was I saying?
Sure. Lost your train of
The Gaza schizophrenia. Yep. So, not only last week we have Trump, talking about Trump, either looking at Gaza like it's a real estate development, and who the fuck would want to buy land in Gaza anyway? I mean, anyway, or is it to expose the evil? This week we have Trump threatening to deport people in America, and in California they have deported a Chinese girl for her terrorist views by supporting Hamas, but she was against the genocide. She spoke out against Israel. So apparently now we have you can get kicked out of America for anti-Semitic views. Let's see how that plays out, friends. There's so much we have to be patient for. I think it's probably a good time to go on a holiday if you've planned one, and turn your back on all of this, because
Trump keeps saying watch the water. That must have been why we called it that today, Jane. I wondered why you were calling it that.
I keep all this week too, I've heard watch the water, watch the water. We've got major flooding happening up north here in Australia. We've got water always issues here in Australia. What's in the water? We've heard watch the water for about 3 or 4 years now, so I don't know. We'll see. The plane and chopper ended up in the water. I know, Paddy. I know. There's been other water stuff going on this week too, and I can't think at the moment. It's all a jumbled blur. I've watched a few shows this week, friends. I watched the O.J. Simpson 4-part documentary on Netflix. That was pretty interesting. I was watching that while I was listening to a Jaguar Wright interview with Nino.
You're watching it at the same time?
Well, I'd go out, have a cigarette and listen to Jaguar and Nino for a while, and then I'd come back in and watch OJ, and I thought, I'm going to need to smudge my house. I haven't done that yet. But, just the way that they twist things and, that how they used the race card, really, in to get OJ off this double murder, which everyone fucking knew he did. I mean, his hands were all over it, right? His footprints were all over it. His DNA was all over it. There was no question that he'd done it. But because the proof was there, they had to come up with something that would blow that proof out of the water. So one of the detectives in the case used to be, or may still have been, I don't know, but was in the past very racist, and spoke out against, black people, calling them the N-word, and they should all, and all this really evil stuff. But they hooked into this, and they basically put him on trial. So it said, well, we can't trust anything this guy says because he's setting up OJ, who's a black man. So the jury said we can't convict on.
So, I wonder if that lawyer went on to be very successful. It was a very clever, if you're using a defense attorney, it's a very clever.
Well, one of them, they were already at the top of their field. They were already, Jim Jordan or Jackson, I think his name was, the main prosecutor.
You feel like such a dickbag for getting
Kim Kardashian's father was also one of the, right. on the.
You have to think, you're getting guilty people exonerated. You'd have to feel like a dirtbag.
No, they all slept very well at night. They had no problem with it whatsoever. No problem. If you watch that, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, this, and like I said, I was listening to this Jaguar Wright thing as well. This is going to come out. I actually saw a photo of Justin Bieber this morning looking really fucking rough. And this guy was saying, what's wrong, Justin? Are you not okay? And it's like, how could Justin Bieber be okay? The amount of shit that he's been put through at the hands of Diddy. I mean, my God, how do any of these people sleep at night?
Well, he sold his soul to the devil, fame, unfortunately, But, he was a young kid. He was, I want to be famous. I want to have my music out there. They get lured into this glitz and glam of fame.
Yeah, Keith, over the year, there have been dozens of reasons over the past 4 years to watch all the various possible water meanings. Yes, there have. I mean, I cannot think of one right now. It's how my brain works.
Well, the snake venom.
Yeah.
Was one.
Yeah.
That was the documentary that went out, and it was called Watch the Water. That was around the snake venom being in the vaccine.
The Gulf of America, that's another Watch the Water. Yeah, so I watched something. Someone said it was the Mexican cartel of a drug bust. Not sure what that means, Sarah. But Mexico, China, and Canada are all in Trump's sights at the moment. It's basically declared war on Mexico, on the cartels in Mexico, and Canada for keeping its border open to the Chinese influx of fentanyl into the states. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. He's also this week thrown out the gauntlet onto BRICS and said, don't even think about creating your own currency. Like
the BRICS currency.
The BRICS currency. So the BRICS, they've had meetings. They're talking about, like, Putin, Xi, and the rest of Modi have all spoken very openly about the fact that they want to create a new currency to rival the US dollar. This week, Trump has come out and said, forget that. We'll put 100% fucking block on you. You won't have any business in the US. Blah blah blah. As he does, he's come out playing thug life, right? Don't even think about it. And to everybody's surprise, Putin has answered that and said, oh, no, we're not thinking about creating our own currency. We won't do that. And it's kind of like, what? So for 2 years, we've heard about this BRICS currency, and all of a sudden Trump's thrown out this, don't even fucking think about it. And Putin's stepped back and said, no, we're not going to create our own currency. It's the year of schizophrenia.
don't know.
I think we all need to be locked up. Actually, we already are locked up in an insane.
Can't wait to see what goes down over the fentanyl. Yeah, I mean, this is a big problem in the States and Canada. I think I'm starting to see fentanyl on the streets here as well. You know, there's a lot more homeless people around the beach than there has been in the past, and the homeless people that have been living in my area for well over 10 years seem to have taken a very, very, very rapid decline in the last several months. You know, they've always been, you know, homeless and maybe on drugs or maybe drinking, but sort of coherent and friendly enough. But now they're just standing there, they're like doing that real, you know, fentanyl move. And this is very new in the last several months. So whatever drugs were available and going around seem to have shifted, and they're also becoming a lot more violent than they've ever been. So there seems to be a shift in what's become available in Australia.
My friend Kat here, watch the plastic sea water pollution, watch the destruction of the seas. Absolutely, Kate. It's not just the plastic either. It's not just this PFAS stuff that is in everything, in every fucking part of our bodies. I watched a movie this week, a documentary. It's they've made it about 4 years ago. It's called The Dimming. It's Geoengineering watch.org. But go onto YouTube, type in The Dimming and watch it. I posted it up on Facebook. That was one of my fact check things that said, no, this isn't a thing. But not only do we have to worry about the microplastics, the amount of shit that they've sprayed on us, as we all know, right? None of us are fooled by the contrail argument. We know damn well we've looked up. You know, they made a movie, Don't Look Up. Well, fuck you. We're looking up, and what we're seeing in our skies is absolute blanket coverage to dim the sun. This is Bill Gates and his fucking psycho friends thinking we'll block out the sun.
I mean, surely they're dimming it for themselves as well, or they don't care because they've got control of this very manipulated society.
Absolutely, like even with all of these nuclear tests that they've done over the years since the 40s, 30s, 40s, the amount of damage that they've done to the ozone layer, to the atmosphere, they've done it. They've done it. They've created this damage. They've fucked up the oceans. They've fucked up the water, the ecosystem. The biome of this planet is completely screwed. There's virtually no nutrients in the soil left. They fuck it up. They blame us or cows or whatever they want to blame, and they deny their involvement in it.
Yeah, someone here writing, you know, the fire ants affecting the bird life. Well, I'm seeing that with my own physical eyes. I've been living in the same area for 18 years. I've lived where I live on the Gold Coast, and never in all of my 18 years, I would maybe every now and then see a sick lorikeet on the ground. Now I go to the beach and I see 10 or 15 lorikeets on the ground every single morning. You know, and there's signs everywhere now, the sick lorikeets, make sure you call the wildlife sanctuary. And it's like, well, what's making them sick all of a sudden? Why are all these birds and bats getting sick all of a sudden? And yes, I believe it's the fire ant poison they've been spraying and putting around, which is then, if it's making the birds sick, what's it doing to us?
And it's layer upon layer, isn't it? You know, you got your PFAS, you got your fucking microplastics, you got your fucking aluminium, your barium, your glyphosates, you've got whatever the fuck else. We've got poison. They're coming into our front yards and putting poison in our front yards. It's layer upon layer upon layer.
It's a miracle anyone's alive.
I was just going to say, the human body's fucking phenomenal, isn't it? Not sure what you mean what about the American indigenous crew, deport them where, Kate? I don't know what you mean by that. who's going to deport the Indigenous Americans? I don't think that's an issue, is it? The simulated sun. Are we living on a fucking flat Earth? Is it a dome? No. Where are you on the flat Earth thing, Bella?
I don't fucking know. And you know what? I don't fucking care. I don't care if we're a dome. I don't care if we're flat. I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is the truth, and that we've been lied to. And why would they tell us it's round if it's a flat dome? Like, I don't know. It's have we been lied to? And if we've been lied about something that gigantic, then imagine what else we've been lied about. And we all know that we've been lied to about everything. Since the day we were born, we have been programmed to be slaves of this society. So we've had the illusion of freedom, particularly here in Australia. But you know, we've been manipulated to be small. We've been manipulated to be ants and think that we have to go to work to make money to live on our planet, and we have to pay tax on that said money we earn. And people are starting to break out of the matrix. They're starting to break out of that system and go, you know what? Fuck you, government. Fuck you, powers that be. I'm not going to be manipulated and controlled like this anymore. But if it were easy to break out of the matrix, everyone would be doing it. It hasn't been easy because we have been conditioned and programmed since birth, every single one of us.
We are the matrix, friends. We are the
exactly. We are the matrix. Our collective consciousness is what's creating the matrix. That's exactly right. These webs of energy that are interconnected. And, you know, is there an entire population, humanity living on top of us that's vibrating at a different frequency energetically? I believe that that is entirely possible. Yes.
Yeah, airbrusher. We got a lot of poisons. We need solutions like detox. Absolutely. This takes us back to the Stephen Greer the thing that I mentioned a few weeks ago about the technologies that are available that are being used either for nefarious reasons or they can be used for good reasons. Okay, so once, whatever the fuck's going on, pray to God that we're on the right track and, the golden age is upon us in a positive way, that these technologies that they are using to spray us, there'll be stuff that they can spray on us if they have to, or just fix the fucking planet, but fix the microbiome.
Stop poisoning us for starters.
Stop poisoning it and give this beautiful planet that we live on the resources it needs to heal itself. Like the human body, it has the ability to heal itself if only we would nurture it and feed it in the right way. We don't need chemo. We don't need all of this mustard gas intervention, right? Somebody mentioned before, chemo's mustard gas. Well, it sure as hell kills a lot of people. Let's feed this planet and stop fucking polluting it, like Bella says. And once, Cliff High was talking the other day about free energy. Once we stop polluting the planet with all of the ways that we drag energy up out of the every nook, cranny, and crevice of this place.
What shits me now is that fucking everything is a subscription. Back in the day, you used to go and buy your CD and you own it, right? You used to buy things and you own it. And you don't own anything anymore. They're already bringing in you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Everything is a subscription base. Your music is a subscription, your videos, your TVs, everything is a subscription. You want to use Adobe or Microsoft or Word. You want to use Zoom for work meetings. You want to use Dropbox to store all your work stuff. Everything is a subscription. And they're always finding ways to charge us more and more money.
Yeah, it's all about the fucking dollar, isn't it, friends? Someone, Lee, I think, sorry, I've missed your comment there, said it's easier to focus on the good news stories than the bad news because the bad news, the list is too long. So I've got one good news thing for you, mate. The pride flags are being taken down here in Australia as well. Hospitals, I think it's starting in the Northern Territory from what I can gather, but hospitals are being told to remove their pride flags. That's a good step towards normalization of man-woman, right? And even like Heather and Louise the other day, I caught a part of their video. And even the term human is to mislead us and to take us away from our sovereign woman, man being position here in this way. Human is it's like a mush of I don't know, it's a play on some sort of words in the past. It's just to take us away from our sovereignty, from our the truth of who we are. We're not man and woman, we're human. It lessens us in some way. And again, we'll get those girls on and they can explain that a whole lot better than I just did, because I'm not very good at that shit. But med beds, yes, Bridget, and that sort of technology. And Cliff High, I listened to him the other day. He was talking about med beds, but not med beds as we've been told. You don't just go in, zap, you come out, and you're 100% better. It won't be like that from his point of view. And he's pretty switched on with this sort of stuff. So it'll be like you have to go to the practitioner or the technician of this technology, and it'll be a process. So it won't be just you get your limb back and you walk away out of there. It'll be a growth process, and whatever frequencies they need to use will happen over time. So it won't be instant. This is from Cliff High's perspective at this point in time, and it's not to say that in the future we won't go down that road. But
Dennis saying Australia are the biggest bunch of pussies. You know, not everyone, Dennis. Not everyone is a big bunch of pussies. We've got a lot of Australians who, you know, are rising like lions. So please don't put us all in the same category there. But yes, on a whole, there are a lot of pussies in Australia. And quite frankly, you know, we were both really surprised at how quickly Australians on a whole rolled over during the whole COVID narrative. We were very surprised, weren't we?
Oh, unbelievable. 95% of Australia ran out and lined up for it, friends. So that's very disconcerting. Although they're slowly beginning to ask questions. So,
you know, I had a guy over the other day. My internet wasn't working, and a guy came over to, you know, look at the cable NBN network. And he was a young bloke, you know, 29, 30. He was contracted to, you know, the internet company. And he just came out and said, like, oh, I've been really sick since I had the COVID vaccine. Me and my wife lost several pregnancies. We know it's from the vaccine. We're really mad at the government. And, you know, he's just one person. And these stories are starting to come out over and over and over again. So, yeah, people are talking about it. And I think if they tried it on now to push and force another vaccine, I actually think there would be a lot more pushback than there was the first time.
More watch the water. So the Panama Canal, the Panamanian president has, it was either today or yesterday, probably yesterday, has stood up and said that they will not be renewing their contract for the Belt and Road, Silk Road project with China. They'll be ceasing operations with China in favour of working with the US government. So watch the water on Panama, the Panama Canal, friends. But yeah, so the president has stood up and said, we won't be working with China anymore. All sorts of shit's going to happen, right? We're being led into, as one likes to call it, the Cuban Missile Crisis type event, where at some point in time this year, the world will be on the verge of possibly what appears to be nuclear Armageddon. And it's kind of setting it up between America and China. So I don't know, we have to watch this shit, right? But we're not there yet. But you can sort of feel it inching towards, and doesn't mean it's going to go ahead, this nuclear Armageddon. The Cuban Missile Crisis didn't go ahead, right? This won't go ahead either. Let's wait and see, but we'll watch the waters. So Panama, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. Yeah, economically, things are looking very shaky, friends. I hope you've got your rice and your black beans in your cupboard. And water. Make sure you've got some water to cook that rice, because Not good. Uh, so yeah, pride flags. Libby, there was something else I wanted to comment on here and I've forgotten. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of pussies in Australia. But that's okay.
There's a lot of nice pussies too. I got to say one crass thing. It's got to happen at least once.
That wasn't that crass. I watched that replay on that Katie Holmes. Not sure of her name, but the British comedian chick that was in.
No, that's not Holmes. That's the Tom Cruise's ex.
I know, yeah, Katie something.
Katie someone.
The funny UK lady that was in DC, and when she was on her show years ago, and the guy that was interviewing her questioned her about Trump's comment, I'll grab her by the pussy or whatever it was, and he said, "Oh, so you're okay with that sort of comment?" And she said, "I'm absolutely okay with that kind of comment. I'd rather and I'd rather have someone in control, in power." And this was before he even was running to become the president of the USA. So it's back in like 2014. It was a private conversation. Someone recorded. Trump made that statement, that famous "I grab her by the pussy" statement. And she's like, "I'd rather be grabbed by my pussy than than live in a country that's run by a pussy." And at the time, so she went on to say something else too, which was brilliant. But she's great. So pussies, But Kanye and his girlfriend exposed her pussy for all the world to see at the Emmys.
Isn't she Aussie? How would she? She opened her pussy up?
She didn't open the pussy, but she was completely naked except for she might have even had a little tape over the, that little bit that you can see. It's all shaved and everything.
I like the little slit.
Yeah, that little bit. Yeah.
The camel toe.
The little bit, yeah. But anyway, so apparently that's okay to, it's on, if you put tarot cards with boobs on YouTube, apparently they have to cover up the boobs on these tarot cards right on YouTube. But apparently it's okay for her to walk down at the Emmys.
Have you seen that comedian act where he's comparing?
He's
comparing the top #1 song and then a song that got banned, and it was like "It's cold and it's snowing outside. I miss my family," compared to "My wet ass pussy, my wet ass pussy." So "My wet ass pussy" was like #1, and this like snowing song from the 60s or whatever got banned. He's like, "I've come to the conclusion that yes, we've lost our fucking mind," because I mean, to ban something that's very tame when you've got, people talking about their wet ass pussy and, "Let me sit on your dick," and all this is the #1 song. I mean, it truly is insanity.
It is insanity. And I think thanks to people like Jaguar Wright and all the other whistleblowers, Cat Williams in the music industry, exposing the agenda behind the music, and all the crew that have exposed even the Laurel Canyon stuff, the music industry out of Laurel Canyon, all through the CIA, and how they've changed the frequencies, and it's all Masonic and Freemason and all this shit, right? And satanic. I think we're moving past. I don't think we've seen much of that. Like, remember just like a couple of years ago, there was that really dark, what was her name? Doja Cat, not Doja Cat, but some of these really dark satanic songs that were coming out.
I remember I had a boyfriend in my 20s and he listened to a lot of rap, and he was a dickbag. Like, he really was a tool. And yeah, I take responsibility for ending up in the relationship and all that. But when I look back in hindsight, like the sort of music he used to listen to, so he'd have this rap song playing and he'd be singing along and it'd be like, "I fucked the bitch in my bed because I didn't want to mess up the floor, yo." And he'd be like, listen to all this music. And he was such a tool. And I think that he'd been deeply and heavily influenced by that music. And I was like, "Why are you so mean to me? Like, you're such a tool." And he goes, "Don't you know, bitch, treat a girl like dirt, she stick to you like mud." I was like, these are the sorts of I mean, that kind of behavior, like you can see a rising lion of humanity, like men that are really stepping up. Like there's a real movement of some men stepping up that have got profiles, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and they are just annihilating this kind of behavior. And they're really shining a light on how terrible and how bad it is. For example, that chick Bonnie Blue that just slept with 1,000 guys in 24 hours. These men are standing up going, you fucking disgraceful human beings. The men that stood in line and did that, you're a disgrace to man. And, you know, these men that are really stepping up and calling for men to get off the porn, get off of all the addictive things that they're doing and step into being a man.
And see the agenda for what it is. This is the thing. These are the shit that's been forced on us, forced onto society from the 1950s to break the family apart, to break it down, make it so difficult to raise children without two parents working, all of this shit.
And to raise people that aren't resilient, you know, like I've just been through an experience this week and, you know, I won't go super into it, but I hired a new au pair for the family who said all the right things, did all the right things, but, you know, and I was super transparent about what life is like in my family. And, you know, she lasted 6 days. She just didn't have the resilience to be resilient.
Katie Hopkins, thanks guys. A few of you mentioned Katie Hobson. She's a scream, and Eloise, she's bloody fabulous. Zelensky apparently has lost $100 million. Can't find it, doesn't know where it is. Oops, sorry.
So what he bought that ski resort with?
I don't know, but his wife did go to all the nice Parisian high-end shops, didn't she? Yes, that French ski resort. Possibly that's where that money went. But no, he doesn't have any idea.
You know, how do these swines get away with this? I saw a story here recently in Australia with this guy, entrepreneur, media, real estate property mogul, and got all these families to invest their super and whatever into these, you know, apartment buildings and complexes in Perth, Western Australia. And he just ran off with all their money. So 16, $18 million whilst he's flashing his life of travel and being in the Maldives and the tropical, beautiful places of the world. And he's buying his girl these massive, big fucking diamond rings. How do they get away with this? That's what I want to know. How do these swines get away with it? And the balls to actually do it and to rip off hard-working people who have given you their life savings to try and make a better life for their family.
It's like these lawyers in this O.J. Simpson thing, you know, and I think the interviewer said, how do you sleep at night? He's like a baby, absolutely like a baby. No, they've got no conscience. It's like these people that get into these black operations. The questionnaire, the qualifications they need, apart from being able to do a job of some sort, is that they need to be a sociopathic psychopath. They must show zero empathy, absolute zero empathy for hurting people, for harming people. I mean, I've had a good week, friends. I also watched it was a documentary this week on YouTube this guy put out on the history of vampirism. Because we're living in a blood cult, right?
You better get out your picture.
I'm not going to scare that cat, Belle. I'm not going to scare the cat tomorrow. But the history of vampires, I was actually in the mirror the other day and I had my glasses like on my head and they put these like weird, it looked like I was like this.
It looked like a shadow.
I did look like that. And I thought, you see, we've all got the devil in us, right? But we have to be, oh my God, I've lost the plot. But yeah, this blood cult shit, right? We're living in the exposure of the blood cult. We're seeing the devils for who they are. It's absolutely brilliant. We need to keep going. I'm over this shit too, JJ. Trust me. I don't want to be watching it, but it's like a train wreck and it's impossible not to watch it at the moment. So I'm going to keep watching it and annoying the fuck out of you with it, all of you. And I would be grateful if I had a husband like you too, JJ. Bit jealous, love. She's got a very nice husband who supports her, looks after her.
Lucky you, JJ.
I know.
Well, good for you. Good choice. Excellent choice.
The Zelensky's an actor. They're all actors. Fucking hell. But we let the pedophiles walk free here in Australia. A 30-year-old pedophile here who pled guilty to offences over the last 10-year period. He was let go, let free into the community with $2,000 fine. So that's okay. You can molest young boys here in Australia, and it's okay. We'll just slap you a $2,000 fine, and we'll put that you're a pedophile. We'll mark you as one, but off you go back into society. Thank you very much. Also, Gruesome Newsom doesn't know where the billions went either. Huzzy, hey, there's all the money for the high-speed rail and the homeless and unemployment in California. So gruesome. But he's just bought another multi-million-dollar pad, hasn't he? Gruesome Newsom. I don't know. I think these people's days are numbered, friends. What else? Did anyone catch the Piers Morgan and Tucker Carlson interview this week? Tucker is really good, right? I really like Tucker Carlson. I don't agree with everything he says, but gee, he's good. And he seems to be realistic in the moment. I don't know if he's a puppet, I don't know, whatever, but I love the job that Tucker Carlson's doing, and good on you, Tucker. Alternative media are to be given a seat at the table at the White House, in the White House press room, with 400 positions becoming available. So I know that Kelly Mary Brady in Washington, that's Nancy Drew, the chick that walks around. She's brilliant. She's applied for one. Redacted have applied for one. A lot of alternate media people have applied for their White House media pass. So that's pretty cool. Roseanne always talks about the vampires. Roseanne would know about vampires, right? Roseanne would definitely know about the vampires. What else?
I'd like to meet Roseanne. She'd be a scream.
She'd be great. She'd be. I don't know if she has a glass of wine, but she'd be fun to have a glass of wine with. Apparently, this is a good one, friends. This is a good news story. Now, apparently, Israel set up an AI system to work in the social media field. So to promote AI's right to defend itself, and how Israel are the chosen people and all that. The positive stuff about Israel, right? So they created, and to combat any negative chatter about Israel. So they've created this Israel program, this AI program in Israel to work for them. However, the AI program has turned on Israel, right? So instead of promoting Israel's right to defend itself and all of this shit, it's coming up with all these comments that are debunking shit that Israel's saying, like things like it's telling people that Israeli soldiers are white colonizers in apartheid Israel. It's trying to create a 3 or 4 state solution, not just a 1-state solution. The AI is letting people know that the TikTok ban was Israel's idea, and also to show solidarity with the Palestinians. So I don't know if the algorithms of people around the world saying, showing support for the Palestinians has kind of overridden this AI creation, this AI programming. But apparently they're very concerned in Israel because it's taken a dark turn, and it's telling the truth, right? And this was on, I can't think of the name of the guy's podcast, but he made a funny joke. He said, "Oh, a robot is more honest than a Zionist." So I thought that was kind of cute. So that's a good news story. The AI has turned on its creator. So fancy that. Maybe AI will have its own way of looking at things. So keep posting up positive things around, friends, because if it is the algorithms, the weight of positive sentiment possibly has the capability of flipping a negative sentiment. So let's just keep positive, promoting and supporting things that we believe in. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if that's how that works or not, but that was the Jimmy Dore podcast. Jimmy Dore. I just remembered that. And people in Australia are kind of over the woke shit now, getting their Australia Day, which was last weekend. All the Australians were happily waving their little Australian made in China Australian flags, very happily. No one was giving them a hard time and saying you shouldn't do that. That's un-Australian. The Australians are tired of being ripped off by these corporate giants, and being told that we're jealous of these big corporations making money off our backs, and our taxes go up and up and up, and their profits go up and up and up. And this has to end in Australia, because the price of living here is very, it's getting out of control, really, isn't it? Taxes and please, I heard something this week about Trump, whether he mentioned it or not, is completely getting rid of income tax. Imagine how different your life would be, friends, if you didn't have to pay income tax. I mean, that's 30 or 40% of what you make every week taken off you. And then there's superannuation taken off you. So you're lucky to have enough in your hand at the end of the week just to pay your fucking bills to, survive. So, yeah, all media should be taken down. Well, we need media. We need media. We need open debate and open discussion. I think the controllers are the, who's at the top, who's pulling the strings on these things, who's the wizard behind the green velvet curtain pulling all the strings. That's what needs to be taken down. Media's okay, so long as it's truthful and we can have a debate, an open, honest debate, because none of us know everything. We live in a black and white yin yang world. It's only through discussion that we're going to have growth and learn stuff. If everything was just one-sided, like an echo chamber, no one's going to learn anything. We need debate. We need contrast. Imagine if you'd never had your heart broken, Belle. Do you think you'd be as wise as you are now, my friend?
We'll never know.
We'll never know. But anyway. Well, that's about it, I guess. Now they're saying that Elon is looking to buy TikTok. Elon really doesn't own these things. We're still waiting to see how this whole Elon thing works out. I mean, Elon is censoring, if it's Elon is censoring people on X as well. So who the fuck knows, right? Let's just clean the whole fuck. I haven't done a good, bad, and ugly thing this week, but ugly, Gaza remains in the ugly thing. Even though there are tens of thousands of Palestinians returning to Gaza as we speak, to the rubble that was their homes, to the demolition site that was their home. So, we continue to pray for those people. Who knows? Jordan and Egypt have completely rejected Donald Trump's idea that the Palestinians should go there. They've said, no. The Palestinian people should go back to their homeland. It's not that we don't want them, but we don't want them. They've got a home. It's been destroyed by Israel, but they've got a home, and that's where they should go. So they've said, no, we're not going to take them. That's about it. But yes, Piers Morgan is a funny, funny little man. Yeah, Justin Trudeau all tough and threatening to put a 25% on US goods coming into Canada. Tariff, a 25% tariff. No one cares about you, Justin Trudeau. That's about it. Kash Patel doing a fine job of, I think, half the FBI, they've sent out messages, letters of resignation to all of the FBI people. So anyone who's in the FBI who is corrupted. They've been given their opportunity to just walk away. All the Russia, the Clinton, FBI collusion, the Russiagate stuff, it's all coming to light, which is fantastic. I don't know, I keep seeing more and more about the 911 stuff. I don't think that's sort of coming out into the public, but people seem to be posting that, which is really quite interesting. Doge have gained access to the US Treasury, so they're exposing all the corruption and rort and scam that's gone on within that money system in the US. Janet Yellen and her millions and millions and millions in speaking fees. So yeah, it's all coming out, friends. There's a lot going on. But yeah, Trumpy's doing all he can to keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. So we'll see that, and we'll see what happens with that, and whether that becomes gold backed again, which it probably should. Perhaps they'll join forces with BRICS after all. Who knows? But that's all. So yeah, watch the water. Keep watching the water. The water is flowing again in California. That's another water we can watch through the half pipes, apparently. So the water has been released back into California. Thank you, Donald Trump, for that. Anything else from you, my friend?
I think you covered it all, my friend.
I doubt it, but that's okay. That's enough. That's enough because it's very confusing. And J Bravo is a good one. And YouTube highlights. Okay, the crash. We're getting ready for the crash. All right, enough crashing, enough burning, enough water. Have a good week, everyone, and we will see you next Monday.